Hello class, welcome back to Navigating Healthy Eating. You just learned a lot of information on our flipped classroom that we're going to recap quickly, and then we're going to go into the practical production of our unit and be able to apply the concepts you learned online into a kitchen setting. So I'm just going to verbally review the unit goal, and then we're going to review the flipped classroom that we did online. So our unit goal, for students to understand what healthy encompasses, taking into account the type of carbohydrates, the type of fat, the idea of balance and moderation. Students will take away how healthy can mean something slightly different to a variety of individuals. Having gained an understanding of healthy, students will be able to transfer the concept to a culinary setting. So that second ULearn announcement, I did a reminder announcement asking what healthy means to everybody. So can I get a few student volunteers of what they think healthy means? Cheyenne?
I think just like everything in moderation, like eat whatever you want as long as you are moderated about it. You don't overeat or something.
Yeah. Robert?
Having a balanced diet, so eating lots of different things.
Anybody else? James?
Less saturated fat in your diet.
Perfect. So you see kind of how everyone's definition is a little bit different because it kind of means different things to everybody, but they all have overlapping principles. Perfect. So we're going to get into the review. So on that second ULearn announcement, I asked the question, does vegan mean healthy, just to kind of get your mind starting to work. So again, what do people think? Sarah?
I think it doesn't necessarily mean healthy because you can be vegan but just eat a ton of processed foods and
Exactly.
like that.
Why do we think people think, if I'm vegan, I'm healthy? Or at least some people think that. Damien?
I think a lot of people have that misconception when it comes to like animal foods, so that they equate vegan to
So this was just a cool chart that I'll share with you guys after, and it was 3 vegan foods to watch out for. So you can have a veggie burger, but it can have lots of fillers, thickeners, artificial ingredients, high fats, like James said, saturated fat. So not necessarily healthy. Again, tofu cheese. Seems healthy, right? Has tofu in it, but it can have trans fats, MSG. You need to be able to read the label, like we learned about. And dairy-free milk. The biggest thing is added sugar. So you can think almond milk, it's a nut. How can it not be healthy? But we're all learning that the common misconceptions, and I just wanted to recap that before we continue. So reviewing our 3 objectives quickly. The first, from Nutrition Standard ACF, students will be able to describe the characteristics, function, food sources of major nutrients, and how to maximize nutrient retention in food preparation and storage. So this standard directly applies to the flipped classroom content. Okay, you watch the videos about carbs, about fats, that directly relates to this objective. The second 2, which I'll read quickly, can someone read the middle one for me? Sarah?
Students will be able to apply principles of nutrition to menu development.
And the third? Billy?
Student will be able to discuss methods of conflict resolution.
Perfect. So those 2, we're going to explore more in the practical portion of our lesson that we will be doing after this review. So again, keep those in mind. So we're going to review the flipped content classroom review quickly. While I'm doing this PowerPoint review, you're more than welcome to take notes compared to what you took notes on during the flipped classroom. And again, this PowerPoint will be available after. So the first standard that I just read before, concepts we learned about in the carbs video, was the idea of good versus bad and complex versus simple. The idea that carbs are energy and the effect on blood sugar, which we're going to go into this more to review when we review the homework assignment. And carbs can be not just grains, but also lots of fresh produce, fruits, and vegetables. Then we get into the fats, which was a different video. Again, the idea of good versus bad, unsaturated versus saturated, like James stated before, how fats, some of their functions, enhancing taste, they have more calories, and they come in oils and butters and plants and animal products, not just animal products like people might think originally. And the third was the concept of balance and moderation, the idea of everything in moderation, like Cheyenne said, no food is taboo, there's no such thing as an all or nothing approach. Can someone tell me what an all or nothing approach is? It was one of your quiz questions. Why is that a bad approach, Sarah?
I think it kind of relates to Americans supersize
Why is all or nothing like bad? Cheyenne?
Maybe because you don't have to necessarily entirely cut out something from your diet. Goes back to like everything in moderation. You can have it just as long as you know how to moderate it.
Exactly. So it's not like I have to be healthy and I can never eat ice cream again. It's not an all or nothing. You can't just cancel foods out and not cancel, The idea of diets in general, do we think diets are a good or bad approach?
It depends.
Cheyenne?
I feel like it depends. You have to figure out what's good for you and what's healthy for you.
Right. And you just want to make sure with diets, when you're just cutting out entire food categories, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And another thing with diets is they often tend themselves to an all or nothing approach, like I said. So, but what happens when you no longer on the diet? You're just going to go back to the way you ate. So again, things to think about. And also not depriving yourself, only eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. So again, that was the third video in the flipped classroom. There was a video about how other countries eat, and they stop before they're hungry, because technically it takes your brain 20 minutes to tell your stomach that you're full. And here in America, we tend to just eat, and then we're so full. And again, that's another common nutrition problem. Okay, we're gonna do just a little pop quiz to review. I have the questions on the board, but we're just gonna go one at a time. True or false, foods with whole grains and fiber have a lower glycemic index. Does someone want to back that, or raise their hands, who thinks it's true? Anyone think it's false? No? Okay, does someone want to explain why they think it is true, which it is? Robert?
Because the whole grains and fiber are harder for your body to process, and so your blood sugar goes up more slowly.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we're going to review the homework assignment in a little and go into that more. What can you replace butter with to make a dish healthier? Lily? Olive oil. Is that the only answer? Do you think there's another answer? James?
Avocado.
Avocado. Any others? So there's no right or there are multiple correct answers. Olive oil, avocado, and what do those have in common as to why they are healthier than butter? James?
They're vegetable-based product.
Okay, and what does vegetable-based products mean? What type of fat is it?
Unsaturated.
Unsaturated, perfect. So that's what olive oil and avocado have in common, as opposed to butter, which is, why is butter bad? Because it's a saturated fat. But the video went into how it clogs your arteries, leads to diseases, etc. I said oil, but obviously I'm explaining that there are a lot of great answers for that one. 3, when looking at grain products at the grocery store or in your kitchen, what keyword should you look for? This could be open to interpretation, but what is a big word that you should look for? Raise your hand. Ellie? Okay, whole. Does anybody have any other responses? Answers? James?
Could be cracked wheat. They have
Okay.
whole, even more, like nothing really done with cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like multigrain, like you look for multigrain bread instead of white bread.
Okay, so this is actually, I'm glad I got kind of a variety of answers, because this brings up a common misconception that we can now address. Illy is correct. You want to look for the word whole. Pull it up to show you. So whole means it has all 3 parts of the grain, including all of the fiber. When products have when you have white flour, then they're stripped of all of the nutrients and fiber. And you always want to look for whole. You want to be careful when products are advertised as multi-grain or cracked wheat, because they can be whole wheat, they can be whole grain, but not necessarily. So multi-grain, you want to just really read that ingredient label to make sure it says whole, because you can have a multi-grain that is not whole wheat, or you could have one that is whole. So again, those are just some words to look for. And 4th, can you eat ice cream and still be healthy?
Yes.
Anyone think no? Definitely? Yes. Does anyone want to explain this? I know this brings lots of smiles to people's faces. Sarah?
I think it goes back to like eating in moderation, and you don't want to completely deprive your body of something entirely.
Right, exactly. So, you know, if someone eats ice cream every single night, then maybe not necessarily healthy, but, you know, everything in moderation. You don't want to just cut foods out of your diet, you know. You do only live once and want to live a happy life, and you can still be happy. You can still be healthy at the same time. Okay, so I told you to bring a copy of your homework sheet to class. I did already grade them online, so just take that out now just so you can reference your answers. If you did not, if you forgot to bring it, then just take out a notepad so you can take notes when going over. And you can take notes actually on this sheet that I will now give you. So I did not want to put this on the flipped classroom before today because I didn't want you to use it to do the homework, because that would have made life very easy. Everyone get ready to put this on? Perfect. Okay. So, if we want to reference basically this chart is a great combination of the two charts that I gave you with a lot of descriptions to make you understand.
Chef?
Yes.
You forgot me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, do we see how, we see the orange line on the chart? That represents the red. And the green chart, you see this steep little curve. Okay, so does anyone want to take a stab at explaining the red chart, referencing their notes or the board or any of the knowledge you have now obtained? So again, the orange, in here would be the orange curve, or it's equivalent to the red chart. Does anyone want to go through that? Again, that would be your explanation for the red chart. Sarah?
Well, I think when you eat like sugar or glucose or simple carbohydrates,
Perfect.
your body can process that very, very quickly. So it kind of releases a spurt of energy.
Okay, and how is that represented on the chart?
By the spike.
By the sudden spike.
Yeah, but then it's gonna go down very quickly, and you're almost gonna have like a crash.
Perfect.
And then you're gonna want it again, so it goes up and down, up and down.
Perfect. So there you go, wanting it again. Hunger crashes. We follow the orange line, simple carbs. Another word for that is high glycemic index. And glycemic index again means just how quickly it raises your blood sugar. And examples of high glycemic, like Sarah said, processed food, chips, cakes, chocolate, white bread. So again, those are the pictures too. And simple carbs, quick sugar level spike. You feel happy, plenty of energy for a short period of time. When you get a sugar rush and you're really happy from eating a lot of candy, that represents that top emoji. But then your sugar level drops, you feel tired, moody, and crave sugar. An example of this was when my brother visited a few years ago when I was a student myself at Johnson & Wales University, and we did the tour in the CCE during family weekend, and one of the pastry chefs gave him those whole sugar flowers, and he was so happy and he ate the whole thing, and he was like a bundle of energy. And then like half an hour later, I have never seen him more like defeated. It was like a total sugar crash. I'll see if I can find a picture later to show you guys, but that's why, not a very happy face. No more sugar available, you can eat carbohydrate to compensate. So therefore, going into the green, does anyone want to explain that? You can reference your answers, you can just reference the chart you now have. Anyone want to do the green? Robert?
So those are for your whole grains and complex carbohydrates. They are, like we were talking about earlier, they're slower to break down. And they're also, a lot of the carbs are insoluble because they're fiber, so you don't absorb them as sugar. And so your blood sugar stays lower and you stay full longer.
Perfect. Stay full longer is the key. And that could be equated to more nutritious. So we see leaves and olive oil and cucumbers and red meat, Steady release of sugar into your blood, you feel energized for a long time, no mood swings, no cravings, normal hunger. So you're not getting that big spike like you would. And again, that's low GI food or glycemic index because it's not raising your blood sugar very much. And if you see in the chart, there's no hunger crashes. Are there any questions about this chart? Does it make a little more sense now, kind of having them together to be able to compare them? And again, on the bottom of the sheet I passed out are written vocab that I was looking for on the rubric, as well as just general explanations we just went over. So that's for your reference as well. Oh wait, you know what, I showed it, I just thought this was funny. This is true, to never eat ingredients you can't pronounce except quinoa. And there you go. Just gonna do a quick verbal objective review to explain, again, just reiterate our concepts that we're looking for. Describing the characteristics, functions, and food sources of major nutrients and how to maximize nutrient retention in food preparation and storage. So where did we cover that?
Could you finish it?
Where did we, so going back to the first standard. The first standard. Do you remember what I said before? Where did we kind of really dive into that concept? What did you just do to prepare for this class?
On the flipped classroom.
Exactly.
All the videos and stuff that we watched.
Perfect. So we, went into carbs, fats, and then the second two, applying principles of nutrition to menu development, discussing methods of conflict resolution, we are going to go into with our practical portion. Do we have any questions about our content before we move forward? This could be anything that you learned on the U-Learn, anything that just came to your mind. It could be on the chart interpretation, it could be on the standards, any of the videos. No? Okay. Well, if you have your laptops, you can put them away. I did not forget to check your uniforms. I'm going to do that towards the end when we do our group practical and you come up and present your dishes, which I will get to all of that and explain that, but I will be coming around to look for that when we do that. We can put our laptops away now. Just to remind you, you can have some of your notes out for the practical portion to reference. I always think it's a good idea to utilize the resources you have because when you're in the real world, you're not going to be confined to just yourself. You want to be able to use what's around you. So phones are allowed for educational purposes only, to research only. And again, I trust your professionalism and I will be looking for that as well. So you can have your notes out. Phones can be used for educational research only. And this concludes the review section of class. And we're going to dive into the practical next. Any last questions? We're all set? We feel good moving forward? Okay, perfect. Thank you.